Hello and welcome to another edition of the Out of Bounds Sports Podcast. I am back again with another Dallas Maverick post game. Unfortunately, they did not get the win tonight against the Sacramento Kings. They needed to get this win to move closer to that fifth spot. They lost tonight 106 to 113. We're going to go and listen live to the post game, just kind of get some more context and clarity on this game. I did was just finished watching this game, ran a little later than I expected to see this game go. The Mavericks did a great job, down the stretch, but they just ultimately fell short. We did see some great bright spots with Trey Burke. Trey Burke, entered tonight's lineup and really just showed the depth that the Mavericks do have. I almost forgot about him because they didn't really play him as often as they did last year. When he was in the bubble, he played a great role with the Mavericks, but this year they didn't have him been playing him like they normally used to. But
Can you guys hear me all right?
They did pretty good, so it looks like we're getting
I can hear
started
you.
now.
You're good.
Appreciate it. Thank you.
Yeah.
We're gonna add them to the stream, so we're getting ready for the Mavericks post game. Waiting on Coach Carlisle to address the media. I'm gonna try this again, y'all. This is the second attempt to try to cover Mavericks basketball tonight. If anybody was on the first one, it was just a complete disaster. Something was going on with the internet. But we're back again doing a Mavericks post game show. Shout out to Big Baby. He's on the stream. We're running a little later than normal. Just wrapped up coverage earlier with the Lakers game. Now we're doing Mavs post game. This was a really, really good game. Just shows some great bright spots that the Mavericks have as far as their depth. They came in the game kind of hobbled with four different players that were out of the rotation, due to either injury or they didn't just end up didn't playing with Dorian Finney-Smith had 10 points tonight. Maxi Kleber didn't really produce a lot of points tonight. He played only nine and a half minutes with 2 points. Dwight Powell didn't follow up his game that he had against the Lakers. He kind of fell back down to earth with only 5 points tonight. Tim Hardaway Jr., I was looking for him to have a big breakout game. He had 19 points tonight. Luka chipped in with 24 points. That pretty much, gives you the story. Off the bench, you had Trey Burke and Boban, which provided great sparks. Trey Burke had 19 tonight. Boban had 10. It's always good to see Boban come out and play. He doesn't get a chance to play a lot, but when he's out there, he's impactful. Chipped in with 10 points, 4 of 4 from the field, so that was good for Boban to come in and provide some great energy off the bench with 8.5 minutes that he did play. So again, we're waiting and seeing who's gonna come up. Normally, when we do the Mavs post game, Coach Carlisle addressed the media first, and then various different players come on and address it as well. So we are waiting and seeing when Coach Carlisle will be out. On to the Sacramento Kings side, the big performance for Harrison Barnes. He had 19 points. Then you had their great center Rashawn Holmes, he had 24 points. Buddy Hield chipped in with 16 points. Tyrese Halliburton, he has been great spark as far as that's that rookie Tyrese Halliburton. He had 14 points, which he did a great job tonight as well. Um, just overall team effort. They did a good job against the Mavericks, got it done.
Hey guys, in addition to Rick, I think we're going to expect Trey Burke and Luka tonight. Still waiting for confirmation on that, so I will let you know shortly. Thanks.
Oh, so good. We're going to be able to hear from Trey Burke. I haven't been able to speak to him before, so hopefully I'm able to prepare a question for him and get some good context what his outlook of the game was like. We're just waiting on them to finish up and address the media about tonight's loss. Overall, down the stretch, I was impressed with how the Mavericks did compete. They didn't just roll over and just lose this game. It was a hard fought game tooth and nail. Down the stretch, they just didn't get it done. Take a look at the standings currently. So with the Mavericks losing tonight, the Lakers did get a win tonight. So let's just look at what it's looking like currently. So if the season was to end today, the Mavericks would be still in the sixth spot. They would probably draw somebody like the Clippers or something like that, since they're currently in the third spot. And they are out of that play-in situation still. I would love to see that rematch with the Clippers. I think that this time around that they would probably give the Clippers a little bit more competition this go around, just because they have a better level of competition defensively and offensively on both sides of the ball. There would be able to challenge the Clippers in that spot. Hopefully, we can see how they look with a healthy Kristaps Porzingis throughout the whole entire series, because I feel like he was the difference maker. Just waiting until we can get some players from the Mavericks organization to address the media. Really impressed how they competed tonight. It was a good game. So looking at the bracket right now, the play-in game, like I said, if the season was in tonight, you would looking at San Antonio and Golden State in play-in situations, as well as Indiana and Washington in the Eastern Conference in a play-in situation. Then you also have for the 7th and the 8th spot for that other game, which I spoke about on the last stream. You have Portland and also Memphis battling out for that other spot. I think that Portland and Memphis game is a rematch from last year's play-in situation. Miami and Charlotte. That'll be a great matchup. Hopefully, Charlotte can get LaMelo Ball back, because he was balling whenever he was in the rotation for Charlotte. He was really good, and I hated that his season got cut. He was just a breath of fresh air. Just being able to see him handle the ball and being able to pass the ball, his vision was phenomenal. It was off the charts. I loved watching LaMelo Ball play. I did say earlier that I feel like the play-in situation was like unnecessary, but just looking at the matchups, it'll be pretty good. Um, the playoffs do start, I think, May 22nd. The play-in situation starts May 18th. The official playoff starts May 22nd. The party now, the playoff picture is starting to shape up a little bit. You're starting to see, if you remember those little Polaroid pictures, we used to shake them, you'll be able to see the picture as you keep shaking and things like that. So you're really starting to see a little bit more clarity of what the picture is actually looking like. Um, we're definitely excited about what
Okay,
this
guys, so
playoff series is
Trey,
going to look
Bert,
like.
and Luca are confirmed, so coach should be along here shortly. I will let you know as soon as he is officially on his way. All right, sorry, stumbling on that. Thank you.
So, y'all can hear we got confirmation that we do have Trey and Luca. So, I'll definitely get my questions prepared because I'm really excited to be able to see if I can ask Trey Burke a question because I have not been able to speak to him because I don't see him play often when I do cover Mavericks games. Had a big game tonight too. He had 19 points and just really, really showed like the strength of the Mavericks team because they have so many different guys that they can put out there, um, you know, during the rotation and things like that. I don't remember the last game that he actually played because he didn't play at all during the Lakers series. And some teams like they like to put out their lineups and different teams to match up with different situations. But he's definitely a great
All right, Rick is officially
player.
on the way, so if you have a question for him, please raise your hand. Thank you.
So Coach Carlisle is on the way.
Yeah, it's just pretty simple. Another poor start. Really did us in. The first quarter, if you look at it on the stat sheet, it looks like a 14-point deficit, but we were down 20-3 or something like that, and just got to be way better at the game. But the last three quarters were obviously better, but this is very disappointing tonight, and we got a quick turnaround and a tough game tomorrow.
Allie?
Rick, in that second quarter, I think you put in Melly, Boban, Trey, and Josh Green. What were you trying to do there for the energy or for the rhythm, or what was the goal with that lineup?
To play better basketball, really. I mean, look, Boban is always a possibility to go in the game. Tonight with Redick and Richardson out, I viewed Green as being in the mix in the rotation. Burke has been he's just been great. I mean, he's been working his butt off to stay ready. He's a positive voice in the locker room. He's encouraging everybody, and the guy's not even playing, And I just, we all felt, the whole entire coaching staff felt like he was really going to be ready to play and help us tonight, and he did in a big way, and helped us get back into it. But it's early holes are hard to dig out of. It's tiring talking about it over and over again. But we've got to be better, and we're going to have an opportunity in a pretty short period of time to try to do that tomorrow.
Hey, Rick, I was going to ask something similar to Callie. So I guess I'll just ask, when do you, is there a philosophy that you have, I guess, when you kind of go to bench lineups like that, when you say this is a moment, this is a time where it's going to take players like that? Obviously, like you said, some of them are going to play anyway tonight. But I'm just curious, generally, when do you feel like it's those players are needed?
I mean, look, all those guys were going to play tonight. And I didn't play Kleber in the second half because it didn't appear to me that he was moving well. And decided to go with an additional score in the second half and start Trey, and Trey continued to do good things, not only offensively but defensively. He's into the ball. He's he's playing to exhaustion. All the things that you need to do, to win tough games. And this all these games are tough. And so, look, to our guys' credit, the guys on the bench, have stayed ready. They've worked extremely hard. They do extra work. There's not a lot of practice time. And so they're doing the maintenance, with the help of our player development coaches and stuff like that. And, that was great to see. Green gave us great energy. We just got to get off to better starts.
Hey, Rick, do you know anything more about whether or
I don't know who's playing tomorrow. Don't ask. Don't anybody ask. Don't ask. I'm tired of all that stuff.
All right. We'll do one more, Kevin.
Rick, how does this team continue to learn and grow from these kinds of experiences where obviously any team can get beat on a given night, but getting off to better starts and playing against competition that's a little bit less and being better in those situations?
Well, there's rarely growth without setbacks and without some level of failure here and there. And look, we had 3 good wins, and that was great. And I think human nature got us a little bit too. Sack played last night. No Fox. No Bagley. Those things are hard to factor. How your team is exactly going to feel about playing in that type of situation. But look, it's an NBA basketball game, and you step between the lines, there's going to be a high level of competition. I don't care who the team, I don't care what their record, any of that stuff. So look, this is what we got to learn from. We're still a young team. We're not an excuse team, and not, I try not to get into a lot of that stuff, but this has got to be another thing that we learn from.
All right, thank you, Coach. All right, guys, I will let you know if Luka or Trey Burke is up first. Thank you.
Just judging by the questions that Coach Carlisle did address with the team and things like that, you could just tell the level of frustration that he did have tonight. When you have a game like that where Sacramento didn't really have their dominant players, the players that normally stick out like Bagley and players like that, you have to get those games and win those games. It's just unfortunate that they were not able to seal the deal tonight. It seemed like they had, great momentum. They had a slow start. It just seems like Dallas do start these games off really slow and dig themselves in these holes. And to their credit, they're able to overcome these games. I've seen them, down in the Lakers game on Saturday when they played them. They got down to 17 points, and they were able to claw back into that game and actually win. The NBA is just a game of runs. Any given night can be your night. You can be on, you can be off. They just wasn't able to string together enough runs to be able to seal the deal tonight. And it's frustrating to be in that situation. And you can kind of tell the sense of frustration from the head coach, Rick Carlisle, that we just had an opportunity to hear from right after the game. Normally after a win, we're able to get more questions in, but you could just tell that he just wanted to get that over with, put that behind him, and focus on their next game that's coming up. So we'll be looking out for the next player. So just bear with us as we continue to wait for that. While we're waiting, I do want to look at some more game stats. Didn't get a chance to cover Luka that much initially, so let's just talk about Mr. Luka Doncic. 37 minutes, 8 of 20, 40% from the field. I've said this before, about Luka and his shooting. His shooting is a kind of a sore spot, 40% for a superstar. That the team relies heavily on his play. 4 of 12 from 3, 33%. That's just not great. Negative 19 in the plus minus, which is not good at all. He did score 24 points, but Luka does have the ball in his hand primarily a lot on plays. He brings the ball up the court. He sets the table of the offense and things like that. Just overall, just looking at, the shooting percentage of shots and things like that, it's really, really a sore spot when you're looking at the overall stat sheet and things like that. He just wasn't that efficient with the basketball. And, from a superstar, you're going to really need him to really step up when it comes to the decisions and things like that. And, while we're on the topic of the decisions, he did turn the ball over 4 times. It's a little bit less than it was last game because he had 6 turnovers against the Lakers. He had 4 this game, but it led the team in turnovers. And if you look at, there's one other thing I want to check out. 4 was the max, on both sides. You had Sacramento, one player that was leading the team in turnovers with 4. You had Luka, who had 4 turnovers. But on the Sacramento side, this was a rookie that turned the ball over 4 times. I think that was Tyrese Halliburton. So Luka's really going to have to get a handle on the ball because he handles it a lot, which, explains the turnovers because he's the primary decision maker with the basketball. If you're just tuning in, we did have an opportunity to be able to listen to Coach Carlisle address the media. Right now, we're just waiting on the next player to be able to address. We did get confirmation that Luka, as well as Trey Burke, will be available to address the media. And we do have questions that we have prepared for either player that comes up to address the media. So hopefully we'll be able to get to those. If you're out there in the stream, you have any questions, post them in the chat. Love to hear from you. Love the feedback while we're waiting on the next player to be able to come up to address the media.
Hey guys, Luca's on the way, so if you have a question for Luca, please raise your hand.
So we got Luka confirmed. He's on the way. Mr. Luka Doncic.
No questions for Luca? Perfect. All right. Callie, go ahead.
Hey, Luca. I know you've talked often about not having enough energy, but I'm curious, how do you make sure that you and the team and just everybody does have energy when you start the games? Like, what can you do to make sure that that urgency is there?
I don't know. I don't know, but it's been a lot of games. I don't know what to say, but we just gotta keep playing like we played the last 3 games, not like today, and we just gotta keep playing like that.
Corey?
Corey from the Out of Bounds Sports Podcast. How you doing, Luka? So I just wanted to ask you, like, could you touch on like the impact Trey Burke and Boban has on the team overall heading into the postseason? They really provide great production and show great depth with the team that this team really actually truly has. Can you just provide some kind of context behind their play and how they're gonna be key contributors when it comes to the postseason?
I mean, they're amazing. It's hard to come in the game when you don't know when you're gonna play, and it's a major respect from them because what they did today was unbelievable. It's really hard to play, like I said, when you don't know when you're gonna play, and they give everything on the court, and they never complain. They just keep working.
All right, we'll do one in Serbian. Alexander.
Luka, 24 poena, 7 skokova, 8 asistencija, odlična tvoja igra i čestitam, proglašen si za igrača nedelje u zapadnoj konferenciji EB lige. Nažalost, večeras nije bila pobjeda, šta kažeš o ovoj utakmici protiv Sakramenta?
Nismo dobro igrali, od početka do kraja nismo dobro igrali. Vratili smo se, a onda smo opet propustili, tako da nismo baš dobro igrali danas.
Thank you, Luka.
Thank you.
All right, guys. Trey Burke will be last up, so if you have a question for Trey, please go ahead and raise your hand. Thank you.
We got Trey Burke coming up, so I do have a question for Trey.
He's on his way.
So he's on his way, so I'm gonna go ahead and switch over to that so I can get my question ready.
we'll get right into questions with Kevin Gray.
Hey, Trey, as a veteran in this league, when a team seems to struggle with a particular issue, sometimes in this situation with energy at the start of games, how does each individual try to hold each other accountable when a message seems like at times it's not resonating the way it should be?
I think you got to take the personal feelings and emotions out. A lot of guys on this team know what they can do, and we have a lot of skill sets. So sometimes, if it's not rolling for you that night and you kind of in your own head about made shots and missed shots, we kind of get in our own way. And I think that's where we can do a better job of holding each other accountable because we know what we can do. We know if, like let's take for a guy like Dodo or Timmy, if they're missing a couple of shots, we can't dwell on the misses. We have to keep doing what we're supposed to be doing on defense, knowing that those same type of shots are going to come back, and you just got to be ready to hit them. And we didn't do that tonight, but tomorrow we got another opportunity for that.
All right, Eddie Sufco.
Hey, Trey, what is it about this Sacramento team that gives you guys so many problems? And maybe did human nature creep in a little bit tonight, maybe?
Yeah, I think so. I definitely think so. We've been on a high. We've been winning. That's a team that plays very hard. They play with a lot of energy. And I think this year we've had trouble with teams like that, particularly in the beginning of games. And, tonight, first quarter, we got out to a very slow start, and it kind of – we shot ourselves in the foot pretty much for the whole game. I mean, we've seen some flashes, some good things tonight, but ultimately, we didn't do enough to get the win.
Okay, Kelly Kaplan.
Hey Trey, for you personally, it was a big game. How do you keep yourself ready and keep yourself ready when you don't necessarily know when or how much playing time is coming?
Just knowing who I am as a player and as a person, keeping my faith, knowing that I, can really help this team. Obviously offensively, but defensively as well. I think I showed flashes of that in the bubble, just making an impact on the defensive end of the ball. I always feel like as long as the minutes presented, so offensively I'm going, produce, but defensively is really where I try to bring energy tonight and make that stamp. I think ultimately did a good job, but we just didn't do enough to get the win.
All right, and we'll do one more. Corey.
Hey, how you doing, Trey? It's kind of a second question follow-up to Callie. Great performance tonight. How do you remain, locked in and focused in these types of situations when your number's called to contribute, and like you said, like whenever you don't get a chance to play as often, but you provide that spark off the bench?
It's tough. It definitely is tough. But you always got to have that mentality in this league. You never know. It could go from you being in DMPs to, you playing 15 to 20 minutes a night. And you never know. You just always got to stay ready. For me, this year it has been tough. It's been something that I've kind of battled with myself. But coaches and the players, my teammates have done a great job of just encouraging me to be me when I'm out there, to not be nobody else, try to play any type of other game, and to be aggressive because they just tell me that's what they need from me. So I just got to continue to play my style of basketball, which is just being aggressive and taking what the defense gives me. But it's not easy. It's tough, but it's something that I think I've gotten better at, and I'll be ready whenever my number is called.
Thank you, Trey.
Thank you.
All right, guys, we're on a back-to-back, so we'll send the schedule for our game against Golden State tonight or tomorrow. Thank you.
So that will wrap it up for tonight. Thank everyone for tuning in to the Out of Bounds Sports Podcast. That was the Mavericks post game. Unfortunately, they did not get the win tonight, but I think that they had great production from Trey, great production from Boban, which I was able to ask Trey a question. I had that question. I wanted to ask him, about him staying locked in and ready when he doesn't know really when his minutes are going to come. But the number one thing is when your number's called and the team is needing that spark, you're providing that energy. So great game. Unfortunately, it did come at the expense of the Mavericks tonight. They seemed really struggles against Sacramento, not understanding why they struggled. That Sacramento was hobbled with injuries as well as them. But I think that from top to bottom, the Mavericks have the better team. That just did not get it done. So I want to thank everyone for listening. That's going to do it for us tonight. Same time tomorrow. Hopefully, we can be able to get some good questions in. Hopefully, tomorrow's games. I haven't had a chance to look at the schedules or anything like that. But we'll be back tomorrow. Thank y'all for supporting. Thank you for listening. We'll be back again. Same station. We'll definitely be able to cover more games in the future. Just keep on, whenever I put a show up, just make sure you tune in. I'm on YouTube. I'm on Facebook. I'm on live, things like that. Just make sure that you tapping in and staying connected, and you'll be able to see some of the things that I've been working on lately and things like that. But with all that being said, thank y'all for listening, and we're out.
If you love